Hi, my name is Kathryn Evans, and my topic is bringing football back to Cameron University. My dad is here in attendance, and so is my mom, but she has the camera, so she can't really come into the shot, but she is there. So that's my audience for this presentation. So the popularity of football is really huge in the United States. It is one of the most popular sports in the United States, and most people that live in Lawton and Oklahoma in general either pick OU or OSU, like in Texas is usually A&M or UT. And football is always fun. Food, drinks, and a good time. Tailgating comes along with football, and sometimes that's just half of the fun of going to the game. Cameron University did used to have a football team. In 1987, they actually won the national championship. But after that, popularity really declined for the team. Ticket sales started to drop, and so the revenue naturally started to drop. There was over a $600,000 net loss in the last year that Cameron football actually happened. They spent over $700,000 on the team, and there was only about $55,000 of actual revenue, and that resulted in the net loss of over $600,000. And since the revenue declined, that also comes with popularity of people going to the games. Wasn't as many season ticket sales and just general ticket sales as well. The benefits of bringing the football team back to Cameron, revenue for the city. Teams come in and they travel and they go out to eat and they stay at hotels, so that generates revenue for the businesses here. And community and school spirit, people in the community would come to the games, people at school would come to the games, and it would just make a better outlook for the school. And with a team coming in, that would also increase enrollment, and more people would want to come to Cameron if we had a football team. Disadvantages of starting the team: it would be expensive. There's some remodeling that needs to be done, some things that need to be bought, and that just happens whenever you do get a new team. But also one thing is when you do get rid of a team, it's hard to bring back, but it is possible. So where does all the money come from to start this team? It's institutional money and state money, but also that some comes from boosters and can come from the community as well. Remodeling that needs to be done. The press box was actually built a while back, and it was just meant to be a temporary press box, and then they wanted to redo it, but actually haven't since then, so it's very, very old and must be redone. Seating, more seating needs to be added. There's adequate seating, but some on the sides underneath this video board could be added, even some on the end, and some suite seats, as some people have, like they say. Businesses could buy those out for 4 or 5 years, and that would be a money maker for us and would generate revenue for the team. And say they bought it for $100,000 for 5 years, and they could have whoever they want to sit in those seats. Locker rooms need to be done. The tiles and ceiling are falling off, so that just looks bad, especially when a visiting team or even just the home team has that. They feel like they're not good enough to have tiles in the ceiling. And the weight room needs to be redone. Although we do just get a brand new weight room, it's adequate enough for sports like volleyball and basketball and golf, but not for a football team of 60 to 70 kids. Housing, with more people comes, they need a place to stay. Coaches typically like their team to stay on campus. Although there are also some available rooms in the villages and the dorms, there's not enough for a whole new team to come into. And with that, we would need a bigger cafeteria. The cafeteria is fine for what we have now, but bringing in football players who like to eat a lot, we would need a bigger cafeteria and probably more reasonable hours, since football may not always be able to go to those times that they have at the cafeteria already. With staff, we would need to add 10 to 15 more positions with coaches. With the football team, there's an offensive line coach, there's a quarterbacks coach, there's a head coach, there's a defensive coach, there's an offensive coordinator, and there's a coach for everything. And so we would need tons of more staff for football alone. In addition, we would need more athletic trainers. We only have one fully certified athletic trainer currently, and now he's even feeling, with the teams we have now, he's even feeling overwhelmed, and he feels we need more currently. So with a football team, we would definitely need more because there would always be a couple certified trainers, along with a handful of people still getting their graduate degrees and people who were still getting their undergraduate degrees to travel with the team at all times, and then others to stay here for the other teams that have practice and such. And an additional sports information director. We already have one, but with an additional team like that, we would probably need another one because he would definitely feel overwhelmed with the amount of teams that we have plus football. An additional strength or cheer coach. We have Coach Flood who does strength and cheer right now, but when we would have a football team, he would definitely not be able to do both. Especially if we had a football team, he would either have to pick strength or cheer, and then whichever one he picked, we would need together. Traveling. Currently, we have 2 of these buses. These buses are great for the for the volleyball and basketball teams and golf because they're not very large, but they're good enough for what we have. But having a football team, you would need a much, much bigger bus. Usually they get like the big Greyhound buses, and those are not cheap, but I've seen that if you maybe make a deal with them, like or one company, and say, hey, if we always use you, can you give us a discount? They're like, yes. That's another way that we could do that. Or if we just make our own buses like we have here, that's another choice for us as well. And the travel for the hotel and food, 60, 70 players plus coaches and athletic trainers would be a lot. So money we would need to make sure we have enough money for that and for the food, because food, usually for football teams, because they're so large, you can't naturally just take them to a restaurant. You would usually have to have the food delivered to the hotel. Final thoughts, this can happen even though all that remodeling needs to be done. It is possible to do so, and many schools are starting to do that. McMurray went from D3 to D2 and brought in football. And Oklahoma Panhandle State does really well with their new football team that they have, and it can be done. But we know it needs to be done. And I think we can definitely get community and school support for this to be able to be done. That's the end.
Yay!
Yay!